Hello and welcome to the Flix Forum podcast, where each episode we go back and we look at a Netflix original film in the order of release. This episode we have Netflix 141st film. It's the 2019 biopic Walk, Ride, Rodeo. It's directed by Conor Allyn and it stars Missi Pyle, Spencer Locke, Bailey Chase, Sherri and Corbin Bleu. I am Jesse, your host, and I am here to bring you another Netflix original film. If you haven't seen this film and you want to keep away from spoilers, I recommend giving the show a pause now. Coming back a little bit later on because I am going to spoil this film as I go through this episode. And yeah, if you like your horse riding or rodeo, I'm not sure how to say it properly, then yeah, give us a pause, watch it, come back, because I'm going to start off with my fast flicks, which is a little summary of what the film is all about. So this one is about a talented horse rider who must overcome a car accident that claimed the use of her legs. And I guess I've probably said that a little bit too enthusiastic where it actually ends, but that's the gist of this story. And yeah, it is based on a true life story. So let's look at how this story came to being a Netflix original, I guess. And I think it was July 2018 where it was announced that production had begun with main principal photography in New Mexico in America. It's also known as Riding on Faith, the Ambly Snyder story. So obviously this film is based on Ambly Snyder's life and her comeback, I guess, to the rodeo lifestyle. In Greek, this film is called The Rodeo of My Life, and in Mexico, it's called Life is a Detour. So in Mexico, they've taken all of the horse riding elements out of the title and made it more about the actual story of the life that Ambly has lived, I guess. The interesting facts for this one, the horse stunts that you see in scenes after the accident were actually done by the real-life Ambly Snyder on her own horse, the Real Power, which is the name of the horse that we see in this film. The ones before the accident were actually done by her sister, who we see in the film as well. I think her name was Autumn. So a little bit of a nice story to hear that the person and the family that this film is based around were actually involved in the making of it. The character Tate Watkins, he is based on a real person. They changed his name for the movie though, but he was an actual love interest for Ambly in this film and in real life. Snyder explained where the film's title comes from, and we do see this in the film. She says that the very first day of her therapy, the nurse asked her, "What are your goals?" And I told her, "Walk, ride, rodeo, that's it. There's not an if, there's not an and there's not a maybe. That is what we're doing." And that gives a little bit of an explanation as to why there is a full stop between each word in the title of this one. This came out in Norway 6 days earlier than Netflix and the rest of the world. So worldwide it hit Netflix on the 8th of March, Norway on the 2nd. As I mentioned, filmed in New Mexico, USA. Consensus for this one, so Rotten Tomatoes, it only has 2 reviews. Both these reviews were fresh, but obviously not enough to give us an overall score. The audience, there were 50 people on Rotten Tomatoes that had got on there, and it's got a 53%. It's on the lower end, a little bit higher on IMDb with a 6.4 out of 10 on a bit over 2,000 reviews. And on Letterboxd, it sits on a 2.7 out of 5, and that's on under 800. So I guess if I had to make a generalization, not a lot of people have seen this one. And I guess that can lead me into the early thoughts for this one, where it's an amazing true life story, and I think Ambly is exceptionally brave to do what she's done and share this story. However, the way that this was put together in a film was really poor. This ride was not for me. Okay, characters. So, Ambly, obviously, we need to talk about her, and she's focused on having this rodeo life. She wants to work at an exhibition that is about rodeo. She wants to get into that lifestyle. She wants to ride, and they make it clear that she doesn't have enough time to spend with her siblings or her family or watch their achievements. It's all about her because she's so focused. And as I mentioned before, such great strength and determination to get up and going. And I'm just not sure that the casting here has given her the respect or the story respect that it possibly deserves. We do see Ambly's mum, Tina. She's very overprotective, but also supportive without going over the top. And I think that her part of the story is involved with this crash and the impact it has on her, but she wants to do her best to keep it together for Ambly. And she does face this guilt for not being more firm, because at the start, she was saying, "I will drive you," and Ambly was so determined to do it herself, and told her not to take the truck, but she did. So she does feel that guilt, obviously. Corey's the dad. He's almost like they put him in this film as the opposite sort of character, where he's really forceful and pushes Ambly to achieve the goals, and has these lines about hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, and he's not happy when she doesn't come anything but first. And I guess it's just nice to see that there's other people driving her success. The last one I'll look at is Diego, and is this worker at rehab. I mentioned at the end of last show, I always go through the cast for the film coming up the next week. And I did mention that Corbin Bleu was in this film from High School Musical fame. I didn't even recognise him until the end credits and gone, that was actually him. So, interesting little thing there for me. Director, Conor Allyn, 13 directing credits. Have not heard of any of them. The biggest one there is called No Man's Land from 2020. But yeah, obviously starting out, possibly get some more work very, very soon. Time to check out some scenes. So what are some things that I enjoyed, some things that I didn't enjoy? Unfortunately, I'm just going to go through things that I didn't really like. I think when the mum Tina, she finds out that Ambly's been in this car crash and she loses it really emotionally, and it's without even knowing what's wrong or what's actually happened in the accident. So a little bit cringeworthy for me. There's quite a bit of gross dialogue, these cliche sayings of, no matter what life gives you, give more back. I just got over it after a while. It was very much in your face, the whole film. And I get that's the structure and the way that these types of films work. Just didn't sit well for me. There's a scene where Ambly goes out in her wheelchair to the horses, and she gets sort of bogged or gets stuck, and she cracks it at her mum for not noticing. And I understand she's emotional and upset with the situation she's in, but it just seemed a bit harsh to take that out on her mum. And then they make a big deal about it being hard for her to get on a horse. But when the parents give her this car, like a mobility car, she literally just gets in and drives off, and it didn't sit right with me because there should have been some sort of trauma there, because the car was the thing that created this accident and this trauma for her. So yeah, another thing that just didn't sit right. Another thing, Ambly buys a saddle, and we get this montage of her failing to get it on, trying to chuck it over the horse and trying to get it on. And once she does get the saddle on, the mum comes over and puts her on the horse anyway, and just narrative-wise, why couldn't the mum have just put the saddle on? And I get that you want to show the audience that she's overcoming these obstacles, but it just didn't sit right again for me. I am sorry if you do like this film. The last couple of things here, I just think that anything with that love interest Tate was not great, as well as there's a scene where Ambly sits down with a reporter. It was so overacted and so over the top that I just couldn't get into it. But this does have a good moral, some good themes, some good ideas, especially for younger sort of people. And, this idea of accepting adversity, and you don't get to choose sometimes. You just have to go with it. So you need to keep moving forward, and you do need to know your limits, though, in doing that. And again, Ambly, she follows her dreams, her goals, and this is because she's focused. But then, she's achieved what she needs, and then she has to do it all over again. So triumphing over this tragedy and not feeling sorry for herself and getting out there and this idea too of this mother-daughter connection between the two. Like, it's a really nice connection between the two because they're always there for each other. Last thing I'll touch on too is there's this mention where the doctors said, I might have been in my reading after actually, where the doctors said that she would have been able to walk if she had a seatbelt on. So this could be a good message too about wearing seatbelts in cars. Okay, what did I take away from this one? I love a good country song, and I feel at the start were really good. I was getting into it, and it just made me think about, in Australia we have these sort of like compilation CDs with the hottest songs at the moment that are called like So Fresh, and I'm proud to say I've got a country one, and it just disappointed me that after the start, these songs sort of became a bit cringeworthy and in your face. The lyrics were just so, like, I know they were telling the story, but there's songs about wide open spaces when she's out on the road by herself, and there's a song called Then You Stand as she's working on standing up, and the montage of workouts and the songs about rising up, like really nice, but just could not do that. IMDb time. We often check out, if we jumped on IMDb to check out any of the cast stuff. But this one is a little bit of a different one for me, because in the film they made a mention of Ambly's dad being in the MLB and the Major League Baseball, and the Players Association actually paying for some of her medical flights. So I was just a bit intrigued, and I looked him up, and so James Corey Snyder, he was a former right fielder. He played 9 seasons in the MLB from 86 to 94 for the Cleveland Indians, the Chicago White Sox, the Toronto Blue Jays, the San Francisco Giants, and the Dodgers as well. So nice little career there, and a nice little tie-in that they made mention of the dad's career too. So finishing on a positive note, I'm going to wrap this one up and give it a rating out of 5 for an overall average of what we're going to talk about. I know inspirational true life films, often go over the top. This one did that and just kept going. It could possibly work as one of those midday movies during the school holidays for young kids to watch and understand some nice messages in life. But unfortunately, the techniques and the way it was done left a real bad taste in my mouth. So this one's getting a 1.5 out of 5 for me. So sorry for this film, but not my cup of tea. We have social media, we have Twitter, we have Facebook, we have Instagram. Please do jump on, give us a follow, give us a like, share us with your friends if you can. The question I'm putting out there this week is, does this film inspire you? Does this film have some sort of motivational message that actually gets you up and going? Because I think that's the idea of this film. We're back in next week, and I think I can confirm that next week I'm going to be joined back with MJ, which I'm very, very excited for. He's joining me for the 2019 action-adventure film Triple Frontier. It's directed by J.C. Chandor. It stars a great cast. It's got Ben Affleck, it's got Oscar Isaac, Charlie Hunnam, Garrett Hedlund, and Pedro Pascal. So if you haven't seen Triple Frontier and you want to check it out, do so in the next week. And if you have, then please do join us next week for that one. As usual, it's been great having you listen along. It's nice to know there are people out there listening. So thank you, and I will see you next week.